Welcome to Black Nouveau. I'm Joanne Williams. This is our edition for August. This month marks the third year since the Sherman Park unrest. We'll look at efforts to revitalize the area through tennis. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, is one of the latest weapons in the battle against HIV. We'll discuss current efforts to stop the disease. You know, one of the joys of summer is the abundance of music festivals in the area. This month, the Harbor Park Jazz, Rhythm, and Blues Festival celebrates its 15th anniversary. We'll talk with Tim Mahone about why the Kenosha Festival is about more than just great music. And speaking of great music, SistaStrings' new album, Lift, is now available. We thought you might appreciate another look and listen to the Ross sisters, who present the soul of classical music.
A cello and a violin make up this musical group called SistaStrings, whose sound is what they call soulful classic.
SistaStrings is just two sisters who grew up playing gospel music. We grew up learning classical music first, because a lot of what we do is combining different genres and just being creative.
They have played strings since they were kids. Shantae, 3 years of age, and Monique, 5.
So I played violin until I was about 9 and a half, 10, and I switched to cello. But when I was about 7 or 8 years old, I saw a recital where this guy was playing cello, another young student. It was a beautiful performance. I was like, I want to play that. And I begged for a couple of years, like, please, please get me a cello, please. And my dad was like, cello is for boys.
After much begging, they let her switch to play what she felt she was meant to play. They've even been street musicians, playing with their other siblings on Chicago's North Michigan Avenue, raising money for instruments.
We just got to post up on Michigan Avenue and play, and when we were younger, we did really well. Because, like, who isn't going to stop to look at some small little black girls?
4 little black girls who are sisters.
That's not the most average sight you would see.
Right.
So we started doing that a while ago. We still do it sometimes, you know, because it's wherever, as musicians, literally, we're always on the grind.
It's actually really beautiful to do that as artists, because you meet a lot of different people.
Playing there, they met producers and other musicians.
We've met some good friends that we have now through doing that, which is cool.
Surely.
Yeah,
cool. Kanye West gave us $20 once.
He did. He did.
Sure did. Kevin Fishing. I didn't know who he was then.
They're passionate about social justice, and this naturally flows through their music.
We're a piece of the puzzle they try to put us under. But when that ain't work, better believe it was the muzzle. But see, I can't be sold. I'm just trying to evolve. They ain't gonna stop my flow. We just gonna let them blow. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
We find it best to just come from our hearts and just try to go to the next person. We just pretty much just are unapologetically black wherever we go. And how whatever situation we're in, we've just found that to be a beautiful way to connect with other people, and then allow that connection to maybe cross over to how you connect with other people who look like us.
Absolutely.
You see? But that's how we do.
Their musical inspiration comes from a variety of places, but one place in particular, their mom.
because she did go through so much from her childhood, and seeing how strong of a black woman she is now and how she raised us and how she was so committed to her family and to her husband and to her kids and making sure we knew, first of all, what it was to be a strong black woman in the United States, in Milwaukee, all of this, and giving us strength as far as just like how you live your life.
And that passion continues in their want to diversify the arts, so the "what are you doing here" moments can be avoided.
Growing up as a black classical string player, there was probably about 2 or 3 other young students in my entire career of learning, and just in Milwaukee, you know. So I really didn't get to see or know that I was supposed to be doing this. It seemed odd. You know, I would come into a competition and get stares from everybody. Everybody would stop playing it. What are you doing in here?
Exactly.
Well, I'm a violinist here to compete, same as you.
Same even in college, though.
Yeah, in college as well. So really, that's where my passion and strive is, that we can do anything that we want to, as long as you're doing it honestly and with hard work. Just do it. That's my main purpose, and especially with young women and young women of color.
The Harbor Park's Jazz, Rhythm and Blues Festival will celebrate its 15th anniversary this month in Kenosha. Tim Mahone, board chairman of the Mary Lou and Arthur F. Mahone Fund, is here to tell us all about it. Welcome.
Thank you very much. So glad to be back here. First of all, thank you for all the wonderful things you do and the great stories you tell about the region and what good people are doing and the impact they make. So happy to be here. 15 years.
15 years this
15
festival's
years.
been going on. How
Yeah.
many volunteers do you say?
Well, 118 volunteers
Wow.
help perpetuate the Mahone Fund. We'll have about 80 of them at the Jazz Fest.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
It-
and what
so
started out
it started out how? Tell us. It
Well,
started,
it started
small
out as a
though.
very small local jazz and blues fest, because that's what the music we grew up on, and we needed a fundraiser to provide scholarship funds. Right, that's primarily what we do, is provide scholarships to students. And this event was a way to bring the community together, bring the region together. And 15 years later, we have everybody coming from all different parts of the region. And so 15 years of great music, great fun, great food, all on the Great Lake. It's a fun night.
Right next to Lake Michigan. It's beautiful.
Right on the shores of Lake Michigan.
Now, who's going to be playing? Who's the Jazz, Rhythm and Blues this year?
Well, you know what? We took a little look over the 15 years and took a little bit of everything. So our main headliner is Paul Taylor. Awesome saxophonist he's from Denver, but he lives in Vegas. So he's gonna headline. But we're kicking it off with Natty Nation, one of Wisconsin's best reggae groups out of Madison. So they'll be down kicking it off at about 2:30. And everybody knows Christopher's Project. Christopher's Project is teaming up with Joe Jordan. If you remember Joe Jordan from the Bucks days and all the wonderful things Joe Jordan does, and they're gonna kick off about 4:15. And I'm gonna tell you something, this woman, Nora Jean Brousseau from Chicago, born in Mississippi, kicks off the Blues Act on the Snap-On stage. So she has a blend of Etta James and Coco Taylor.
Oh my.
And real graspy, grovelly voice. And so if you love blues, it's a great place to come down to Kenosha on August 17th. And then Paul Taylor at 7:30.
So it's a one-day festival.
One-day festival. We get in and we get out.
How early do I have to be there?
Well, you should get a room today, right? Gates open at 12:30, and it kicks off with a cooking studio. And the dynamic part about the cooking studio this year, we typically have chefs come in, celebrity chefs, and talk about a certain menu. This year, it's a competition, a cook-off between the firefighters So the local 321 in Racine versus the local 414 in Kenosha. So both mayors have a wager on this, and we're gonna have both firefighters do a best chicken cook-off in Southeast Wisconsin. So we partnered with them, groups that are very charitable in nature, and that's what kicks off the event. We have an arts and crafts festival that goes on from 12:30 to 6, and the music kicks off at 2:30. A lot to do on the lake. And
Now, one thing I'm always concerned about is where to park, because last time I went there, I had to park around the corner and up the street and all that.
because there are a lot of people there.
Yes.
But it was free parking, right?
Yes, free parking.
Right, so there's free
Easy to get
parking
to.
right on the site, easy to get to. 54th and 56th between Celebration Place, right off of 6th Avenue, downtown Kenosha. Very easy to get to, very free. Ample parking, ample parking. And we should have took care of you last time. I don't know what happened. How
I
did
don't
you
know what
park so
happened
far
either.
away?
So tell me the purpose of the festival and of the fund. Why did you start it, and what do you want to accomplish?
Why did we start it? My mom died in '98 of breast cancer, and we needed a way to perpetuate my mom's legacy. African-American woman in Kenosha who worked really hard around human dignity and uplifting the human condition. And she had a way of moving people off their comfort zone. And we wanted to perpetuate the legacy. So we started the Mahone Fund at that time, Mary Lou Mahone Fund, so that we could continue to talk about her story so other kids and families could tell their stories about their families. So 20 years later, we're still telling this story. We do it through music. And the funds from this support scholarships. So we are trying to reduce the financial burdens that our parents have sending their kids off to pursue their college dreams. 238 scholarships later, this is one of our fundraisers, and it's been able to help so many kids who are now coming back volunteering at the event.
So will they have a special badge that said,
They will
I'm
have
a
a
Mahone Fund?
They will, but it'll be a special shirt. Selling raffle tickets, of course.
Now tell us a little bit more about your mother. There's also a school named after your mother in Kenosha.
Yeah, so two things. We wanted to do the Mary Lou Mahone Fund, and that was a fiscal opportunity to perpetuate her legacy. My mother wanted equal access to school for all people, affordable access to education. And so one thing we wanted to do was to make sure that legacy physically would be perpetuated. So Mahone School, Mary Lou Mahone School, middle school, was built in 2001. So very, very proud of that endeavor because it was a community movement. The message was put out by Cassell Lawson at my mom's funeral. And we put together a collection of diverse people, the school board, the mayor, the county executive, and various community members who worked with my mother, white, black, Mexican, old. It was a phenomenal process. And the vote was 7-0, unanimous, and it's a beautiful school. It's a new school, a brand new school, named after an African-American woman who moved the entire community forward. So what our goal is, when I see students with a Mahone Middle School shirt in the Starbucks in Milwaukee, I know that her legacy continues on in the lives of so many people.
The Starbucks?
And that's the goal. Starbucks. She had a coffee in Starbucks, and I saw her with her. She was a UWM student,
Okay.
and she had on the Mahone Middle School volleyball sweatshirt.
So the festival is going to be on August 17th
August 17th,
at
Celebration Place.
Celebration Place on the lakefront at Kenosha's Harbor Park.
Yes,
Is there an admission fee?
there is an admission fee. Up until Friday, you can get general admission tickets, $5 off online at mahonefund.org, mahonefund.org. Otherwise, there'll be $35 at the door. And there's a VIP, which includes a complimentary ticket and food and beer and wine for $85.
All right.
And up till Friday, it's $75.
Such a deal. Thank
May
you
not
very
matter
much.
so much when this is aired, but
Thank you very much, Tim Mahone, for coming and talking to
Thank
us
you.
about this festival coming up in Kenosha.
thank you for the opportunity. We'll see you all down in Kenosha August 17th. Great food, great music, great fun.
It's a sunny Saturday in Sherman Park. Perfect weather to dust off the courts for a tennis match. The park has a lot of history as a Milwaukee jewel, but Michael Levy wants to bring back the culture some may have forgotten.
This is where tennis got its start in the black community as I know it. My daughter played here, and most of the folks here used to play on these courts.
That the missing piece in this community is, with some of its trauma and difficulties day to day, is knowing how to have the courage to manage here. Tennis is a game you've got to manage here first, and everything else happens. If you lose your mind, you lose your strokes. So what we wanted to do is teach young people how to step up and have the courage to bring the best at every shot, every point. Back in the day, and I would say that probably maybe 20, 25 years or more ago, there was a hierarchy. I mean, but most of the time you saw some of the best tennis. You could literally come here and lean on the fence and get a great look at some of the best tennis around.
Sherman Park used to be a central place for community events. At one point, it was home to the neighborhood's own festival. But over the years, it became packed with more nuisance than entertainment. Tensions reached a peak 3 years ago after an officer-involved shooting led to nights of civil unrest in the park.
I think the year that we had our unrest, I was just starting out here at MTEF, and it was a park owned by the young people. It wasn't owned by the community. Once the adults began leaving, no tennis was here.
Since then, Levy says he's seen changes in the park's maintenance.
It's a lot of different organizations coming into the park and just enriching the value of what we can get done in our neighborhood.
One of those organizations is Serve and Connect, a nonprofit that aims at bridging the gap between up-and-coming tennis players and the people that take an oath to protect the community.
It was a way to not only bring tennis with first responders in, but to just bring first responders in with a different look. They look like athletes, they're regular people.
Usually when people in the community have contact with first responders, it's in a negative light. And I think this is a positive way to show that we do care about things that are going on in the neighborhoods that we serve.
Lieutenant Michelle Haywood has been playing tennis at Sherman Park since her teenage days. A possible home court advantage is she goes up against one of MTEF's top players.
Coach Mike said that he saw like this gift in me that I can play tennis, and it's not something that was taught, it's more natural.
Samaya has been playing here for 4 years, but when she found out she'd be matched up with a police officer or firefighter, it was a different feeling.
I played varsity.
Kayla and Sonia, is there any way you guys can reach out?
It's a different kind of feeling. I've always wanted to be like a police officer or a detective, so I'm pretty excited to play today.
Like Lieutenant Haywood, tennis on these courts has come to be a second home for Samaya.
Most of the time there's like people around. It makes me feel like I'm a part of this big community. Just knowing that those people are there for you, knowing those people are here to help you, just one call away basically.
As the two generations of Sherman Park players face off, it's a symbol of Levy's vision.
She picked you.
So what we wanted to do is make sure that through tennis, we bring a more mature body of people into the park, and through that, they may begin to feed into some of the youth development, encourage the youth development, mentor some of these young kids, so that then they take on a valued place with what this park can be.
Later this month, we'll hear from other community members on changes in the Sherman Park neighborhood since the 2016 unrest. That'll be on our sister program, 1036.
For me, getting on prep was easy. All I pretty much had to do was go to my doctor. He recommended me to go to a different lab. The lab that I went to had to take test results, and then they had to get my blood drawn, and then within a week, I was on prep.
One of the things I do want to say though, Ken, and I'm pretty sure Stacy would agree, is that staying prepped up is worth it, especially when it comes to our community. Because it's one of those things where if we end up and we fall off and we don't use everything we can to beat this epidemic, it'll eventually take us out.
That's part of the Stay Prepped Up campaign launched this summer by the AIDS Resource Center in Wisconsin. Its purpose is to get more Black gay men in Milwaukee on the HIV prevention medication PrEP. Joining us is one of the campaign ambassadors, Stacy Clark, and the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for ARCW, Tiffany Nguyen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
Stacy, why are the numbers still high, and why is it important to get men on PrEP?
Well, for the last couple of years, Milwaukee County has been one of the leading counties for HIV and STD transmission rates. As far as the core groups of people that are most affected would be the Black population, Black men who have sex with men, and also the Latino population of men who have sex with men as well. That contributes to a lot of different things in our community, but it comes more so from, I think, stigma. And I think that we need to really address that in the healthcare system and in our communities. That way we can make a better connection with why public health and why safe sex, that conversation needs to happen.
What do you mean by stigma? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, what I mean by stigma, when you talk about PrEP or you talk about any medication that's used or any form or any method that's used to prevent any sexually transmitted disease, there's a lot of stigma behind that, meaning it's a negative connotation, meaning that you're nasty, meaning that you're dirty, a lot of different ways.
Okay. Tiff, let's talk a little bit about what makes this campaign unique. How is it being marketed? Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So the Stay Prepped Up campaign, it's a fully integrated marketing communications campaign. And the goals of the campaign is to raise the awareness and the education of this preventative medication called PrEP, which is one pill once a day to help prevent HIV. The campaign is targeted to Black gay men of color, as well as trans women between the ages of 25 through 34, because what research tells us is that that demographic and that population is the ones that's most at risk, at highest risk of getting HIV. Mm-hmm. Also, what we know in terms of national statistics from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention is that 1 out of every 2 gay Black men between the ages of 25 and 34 will have HIV in their lifetime, compared to 1 out of every 4 Hispanic men and 1 out of every 9 white men. So when you think about those numbers, those are alarming statistics. And so that's why we created this campaign specifically targeted to this population. What we also know in Milwaukee is that gay Black men are 4 times higher to contract HIV compared to their white counterparts. And so all those things are very alarming. And so we started this campaign to say, okay, let's raise the education and awareness about this preventative tool. It's innovative, it's out there, and we need to get more people on it so we can start to address this stigma, this issue that's within our communities.
Stacey, tell us about what does it take to be an ambassador? You're an ambassador, and tell us about this campaign pledge that the ambassadors take.
Well, the pledge that we take is a pledge that we would like for the community to take more, so taking more accountability and ownership of yourself, knowing that you do have the power over your life, whether you want to make whatever sexual choice you want to make, and basically normalizing the preventative tools that we could use to prevent the epidemic of HIV in our cities that we have here in the United States.
How does the campaign or the pledge go?
So the pledge is on the back of his shirt.
Yes, the pledge is on the back of my shirt.
On the back of my shirt.
Oh, what does it say?
So let me read it. So it says, I'm worth it, my family is worth it, my health is worth it, my commitment is worth it, my well-being is worth it, my body is worth it, my partner is worth it, my community is worth it. And so with this campaign, we wanted to emphasize the word worth, because we want people to associate health with worth. So when they think about their health, they know that it's worth taking control of, it's worth thinking about it, it's worth the commitment, it's worth the cost, it's worth whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you're taking control of your own health.
Now, it's early in the campaign, but do you have any idea how it's being received?
So far we know that it has been received very well. People have been very receptive to it within the community. Before we started the campaign, we did do some qualitative research. So we did actually do the research with our target audience, and we asked them what were their healthcare, their media habits, so we could better understand how to directly market to them, because we needed to be armed with that knowledge first before we put out any campaign to the community, because we wanted to be for the community and by the community. So we wanted to make sure of that. And I think that's why it's being so well received, because we know that these are exactly what they told us they needed and everything that they wanted to see in a PrEP campaign.
Stacey, what are some of the misinformation out there that people hear about PrEP, or what have you heard about PrEP that's just not true?
Based off the things that I've heard, one thing for sure that I've heard about PrEP is that it's a pill that you use for your HIV, when this is really this is a tool that people will use that are HIV negative without living with HIV. That's one of the things I've heard about PrEP. Another thing that I heard about PrEP, understandably so, would be the side effects that come with PrEP, you may get with PrEP, based off of statistics and everything like that. And based off of research, not many people have side effects when it comes to the PrEP medication as well. So those are the common things that I hear as a PrEP Stay Prepped Up ambassador.
And Tiffany, ARCW aids in helping people get on PrEP. How does that take place?
Yeah, absolutely. So it would start with a PrEP consultation. So they could just call our number, 1-800 359-9272, and it's option 7. So then they can talk directly to someone with any questions that they want. They can actually remain anonymous if they just want to get some, basic information about PrEP. If they just want to learn more about it, someone will pick up that phone and answer all the questions that they have. And then from there, they make the decision and say, okay, is this right for me? And if so, they can come in for a consultation. And then from there, if they decide that it's right for them, they have their first appointment. And within that first appointment, they have to do some blood work. They talk more with our clinician about what PrEP is and what they need to do to stay on it. And then they usually walk out of there with a prescription for PrEP. So they can go ahead and go to the pharmacy and get that right away.
And the cost is relatively free.
Yes, so for us, we take all major insurance, of course, but if you don't have insurance, we can also help with the cost of that, and we can also help you navigate that process. So don't let money be an issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for coming on. This is an issue we need to continue talking about.
Yeah,
thanks.
thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Next month, we'll look at Jacari Carr's efforts to change the world 2 feet at a time. And we'll talk about the Urban League's Century of Service. That's Thursday, September 5th at 7:30 on Channel 10. As we close tonight, remember there's always more to see on our website at MilwaukeePBS.org. You might want to check out our newest Black Nouveau web exclusives or get links to more information about some of the topics we discussed this month. And we want to hear from you. Give us a call at 414-797-3760. Let us know what you liked and what you might like to see more of. And that's our program for this month. For Black Nouveau, I'm Joanne Williams. Thanks for watching.